Hello and welcome to the Tarkus Zone. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about Palworld and the new latest patch. Now I've got the article here in front of me from Shack News. I picked this page only because of the white text against the black text. It just makes it easier to read, especially if you're doing a web content. So the patch came out yesterday, and today is the 27th, so that would have been the 26th. Just remember, if you're running a dedicated server and you haven't updated it, your peeps won't be able to connect to it if they've updated the game. So if you're running private servers, get on updating them so players can play. As for the general public servers, the game developers would have done that already when they released the patch. Now I'm not going to go into every bullet point here on this list, but we're going to look at a few of them. I'm going to discuss a few of them. I'll provide this page link in the comments below. All right, so they did patch the game. I did read a little bit about this. They did implement better backups and saves, so that's cleaner. Keyboard configuration. The only thing they modified with the guild stuff is the ability to kick people out if they haven't been on for a while. So my thoughts here is they got a lot of work to do around the guild management system in this game and how guilds actually work in this game. So I'm concerned that I only see one object here that they've addressed. They really need to, they need to kind of revamp the whole system, in my opinion. Player issues, they've changed a few things with player interactions and accuracy to objects. It's, you would be able to read it here for yourself. But I do want to say that the way they allow the interaction now, because I've played a little bit of the game after the patch, it's a lot cleaner. So when you're interacting with things, you're going to find it to be a lot cleaner. Now, pals, they've changed the way pals aggressively in the aggressive state when they are in attack aggressively. Before, when you were just standing there and you had pals or enemies around you, and you had the pal next to you and it was in the aggressive state you told it to be, it would not do anything until you initiated combat. Or unless you pulled the PAL out of the battlefield, reinitiated the PAL with the E command, and then it would be like, oh, I see baddies here. Then it would consider being summoned as a combat state, and it would attack things. So that's how you kind of gimped it, was you always kept your PAL away from the battlefield, and when you wanted to kill something, you'd pull it out. Well, they fixed that now. So if it's in the attack aggressively state, regardless of what state you're in as the player, it will attack any pals that are around it, which is a good change. Okay, so let's just go down to, they fixed bugs, a bug where a large amount of experience points were gained, and pals would not learn any active skills, so they fixed that. Base issues. I mean, a lot of this patch is just them fixing things that have been reported, which is always a good thing to see. In the way I'm looking at it, is they need a content patch very soon. I mean, I've pretty much played out this game. I've done everything they've asked me to do in the game. Right now, I'm just waiting for some end game content. I was hoping to see that in this patch, but that's not what we're going to see here. This is more buttoning up things that were issues. It makes sense, get the things fixed before you add more. But I'm thinking that their timetable here needs to be aggressive. They need to start adding some end game newer stuff. All right, the base stuff. Fixed an issue with okay. So I did read this. They fixed a lot of the pathing issues that I complained about in the past, and where things kind of gimped out or where they get locked on things. If you had specific things in your base, they would get on top of them, like the roof, and then starve to death, or they'll starve. They never die, but they starve in this starved state. And it's like, well, what the heck are you up there? Why don't you just come down on your own? They fix that in this patch. So hopefully you're going to see that your pals are going to function better within the base. And that's what this whole base issue section is about, is getting the pals not to gimp out on you, and the pathing being better. And if they do get in a gimped out state, that they actually can resolve it themselves without you having to pull them back into the PAL box and pull them out. Or you could have gone up to them and picked them up with the V command. But it's always easier just to go to the PAL box, pull them out of the workforce. It pulled them back into the workforce, and that fixes them out of that gimpy stuck state. So they did that. Okay, so balance. Oh, they also improved the relaxed working style on the monitoring stand. Now, I don't really use that stand. I find that this game is quite generous with the stuff that you get, just keeping them in the normal state. So to put them in the other, I got thousands and thousands of items that my pals have gone out or made or collected or have done what I needed for them to do. I've never found that the moderator box was even necessary, unless you just wanted to be a jerk. I mean, that's the way I looked at it. Okay, balance adjustments. Now, I mean, it's not a PvP game, it's a PvE game, so I don't know what they're balancing. I mean, they might have saw some. Oh, they fixed an abnormally high selling price for the nails. That was kind of crazy. You know, you could make a bunch of nails and sell them to the vendor, and you can get a lot of money. That was easy. That was the best way of doing that. I never talked about that in my vid because I thought that was a problem, or in my past vids, I always thought that was it wasn't a feature. It was broken, so I never mentioned it. But yeah, the nails had a high sellback, and they fixed it. Sellback by specifically increase the number of police officers who appear when a crime is committed. So if you go out to one of those crime islands, protected sanctuary islands, and you are seen, and like I was saying, is they made it so that if you're now on your flying mount, you'll be seen. So before, you kind of could get it out where you could fly around those sanctuary islands and capture the pals, and you never go into a crime state because you were mounted and flying. They fixed that too. But when you do get a crime notification, they're going to send a lot more officers to your base to work that out with you. Okay. Adjusted the flight distance of the spear launcher and scatter spear launcher. Those launchers were worthless. So I'm glad that they fixed those, because they were pretty worthless. It was like you'd have the thing and it would just like boop, just fall. It's like it rolled out of the launcher. It would be like boop. So hopefully it goes now, does what it's supposed to do. Okay. And increases the sanity value recovery amount on high quality hot springs. So the hot springs will give you better sanity now. To be honest with you, if you just feed your guys salads, that seems to just do the job. You don't even need the hot springs. I tested that the other day. I removed all my hot springs in one location, just fed them salads, gave them the gimp beds, the stage 1 beds that you can get. And I tested that. So they were all at the low end beds, not the little fluffy beds. Got rid of all the hot springs and put them to work. And these were the Anubises, and just fed them the salad, and they were fine. Their sanity never dropped. They were fine. They seemed to be fine. Not an issue. So, I mean, maybe that needs some adjusting. But the salads is kind of OP when you start making the salads and feeding those. Okay, network related issues. They fixed some network related issues. And others. Fix issues with the Day 5 memo was not placed. You can now adjust the in-game brightness, fixed many minor bugs, corrected various incorrect text, and improved measures against cheating. I mean, come on. It's a single-player game. People are going to cheat if they want to cheat. Cheaters will be cheaters. But, I mean, it is what it is. But that's really it, folks. So, like I said when I started this video, is we were going to discuss what they did put into it and what they didn't put into it. And again, it's the content. They didn't add content. They didn't add any new pals. They didn't add any new world bosses. They didn't add any new content. So this is a fix patch. They fix stuff, which is great. I'm glad they did it. But this should have happened like a week or two ago. They should be more aggressive on these hot fix patches, and then they need to be aggressive on getting some new content in their game. Because when I hit 45 and it started going through the process, I enjoy being in the world. I enjoy the world, but I found that I was just hanging out at my house after 45 because pretty much everything had been done. There was no incentive for me to go out and do anything more, because my pals, my workforce was doing pretty much everything for me, and my pals were just doing what they were doing. And that's what the game's been for me since 45. Now I think I'm about to hit 49th level. And again, there's not really anything that I want to go out and do. I mean, after watching, if you've seen my video about how you can one-shot every boss in the game, with a combo move. The game's kind of for me is I'm just waiting for them to add some very aggressive world bosses that take more than just one person to get, like raid bosses. That would be my wish list there. All right, that's it, folks. I'll provide this link in the comments below. Thank you for joining me. This has been the Tarkus Zone.